Good evening, welcome to 5 News with me, Tessa Chapman.
And me, Simon Vigar.
Tonight, a shocking attack. A pregnant woman is stabbed in broad daylight. It happened in the quiet Welsh village of Aberfan this morning, prompting a huge police manhunt. A man's just been arrested. We'll be there live.
Also on the programme, guess who's on a flying visit to Rwanda? Home Secretary James Cleverly's been there today to sign a new treaty as part of the government plans to ship migrants from here to there.
But the UK is far from alone in grappling with the issue. We've got a special report from the holiday island of Lanzarote in Spain that's seeing a big rise in migrant arrivals. And
what do we want? When do we want it?
More strikes on the way. Junior doctors this time staging 2 big walkouts just before and after Christmas.
And Elf on the Shelf? What about Elf on the camera?
Yep, this little guy is causing mayhem here. We'll hear from the people who thought it would be a good idea to let the elves loose.
From across the UK, this is 5 News.
Hello and welcome to the programme. We're starting tonight with a developing story in South Wales. In the past half hour, police have confirmed a man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after a pregnant woman was stabbed. The incident happened this morning in the small village of Aberfan. Schools in the area were locked down for hours. Well, we can cross now to our reporter Layla Hayes, who is at the scene. Layla, good to see you this evening. This must have been a very worrying day. What more can you tell us? I'm sure Layla in Aberfan, thank you.
Next tonight, big smiles and a warm handshake. This was the moment that the Home Secretary James Cleverly signed a new asylum treaty with Rwanda. It's part of the government bid to resurrect the plan following the Supreme Court's ruling against the policy last month.
Mr Cleverly becomes the 3rd Home Secretary to visit the African nation in 18 months and said today he can see no reason why migrants won't be flying there soon. Our political editor Andy Bell reports. So, as you've been hearing, the government has made cutting illegal migration one of its key priorities with a promise to stop the boats. More than 29,000 migrants have arrived in Britain this year after crossing the Channel. But this is not just an issue here in the UK. Tonight, we're going to look at another part of Europe where small boats are heading. This year, more than 30,000 migrants from countries including Senegal and Guinea in West Africa have made the dangerous journey to the Canary Islands. Now, Julian Drucker is on the holiday island of Lanzarote for us. Julian, good to see you there tonight. Talk us through it. What kind of things have you been seeing there? OK, such high numbers. Julian, thank you for that report from Lanzarote. And we can go back to our political editor, Andy Bell, now, who's at the Home Office for us. Andy, that was Julian in Lanzarote, but back in the UK and the Rwanda plan, do you think it's going to work this time? OK, not over yet. Andy, live at the Home Office, thank you.
More of the day's news now, and rail passengers are dealing with another day of disruption. The current action by the drivers' union ASLEF began on Saturday. There's a general overtime ban this week, with total walkouts targeting different operators on different days. Today it's the east of England. There are no C2C trains, while Greater Anglia is running a reduced service. Sticking with rail, an affair dodger who posted tips on TikTok about how to avoid paying has been caught and fined. East Midlands Railway says the woman, who hasn't been named, shared numerous videos on social media urging other passengers to defraud the train operator by following her advice. And a YouTuber has been jailed for 6 months for deliberately crashing his plane for views and then lying about it to investigators. Trevor Jacob posted this video of the plane crash in the United States in December 2021, implying it was an accident. The clip has been viewed millions of times.
Next tonight, junior doctors in England have announced further strike dates this month and in January after talks between the government and the British Medical Association broke down.
Well, Natalia Horquera joins us now. And, what's new today? What can you tell us? OK,
Natalia, thanks for the update.
Loads more to come before 6 tonight, including an update on new rules for transgender prisoners in Scotland.
Plus, has this guy turned up in your house, or are you blissfully unaware of the Elf on the Shelf craze?
Yes, later on we're going to be talking to the sisters who've helped bring Santa's cheeky helpers to houses across the world and making them a Christmas tradition. And we want to hear from you too. What are your family Christmas traditions? WhatsApp us on the 5 phone. Send us a picture if you like. Great pictures yesterday. 07555 500 501 is the number, of course. And we will show some of those pictures later on.
Yeah, we'll see what this little guy's been getting up to too. He's been very cheeky. But for now, Claire has got the forecast.
Hello there, good evening. All change with our weather from tomorrow evening. Rain warnings have been issued. Before that, though, it's a cold night with some fog. I'll see you in a while.
Thanks, Claire. See you after the break.
Welcome back. We've got an update now on the trial of 2 teenagers accused of murdering this girl, Brianna Jai, who was 16 years old and transgender.
A warning, some of the details in this case are upsetting. Brianna was stabbed to death in a park near Warrington back in February.
Today, the jury heard details about her injuries and about what one of the defendants told police. Peter Lane was at court for us. Peter, this must have been very difficult evidence for everybody to listen to. Peter Lane, live in Manchester for us. Thank you tonight.
More news now, and websites showing pornographic content may have to use credit card checks and match photo ID to confirm users are over 18. It's part of the Online Safety Act. Regulator Ofcom has published the draft guidance on how to protect children to ensure that platforms comply with new internet laws. The Premier League has agreed a record £6.7 billion deal for Sky and TNT to show up to 270 live games a season. The deal means the BBC continues with highlights of Match of the Day. The whole package is a new record for the UK. And King Charles has been attending an Advent service at the Coptic Orthodox Church in Stevenage. He spoke with members of the public and planted a tree. The visit also raised a few eyebrows as the King appeared to be wearing a tie with the pattern of the old Greek flag. While it may just be another coincidence, it comes days after a diplomatic row between the UK government and Greece over the Parthenon marbles. Buckingham Palace is yet to comment.
Now, it has been called the worst treatment disaster in the history of the NHS, the infected blood scandal. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, tens of thousands of people, up to 30,000, were given contaminated blood products.
Sadly, more than 3,000 of those have died after contracting diseases like HIV and hepatitis C. In 2018, an independent inquiry into the use of infected blood opened. It's reviewed thousands of documents and heard testimony from hundreds of witnesses.
The government has said there is a moral case for compensation, but wanted to wait for the inquiry to finish before setting up a full scheme. Now, MPs have backed up a move to speed up payments for victims. Nick Wallace has more. OK, Alan, live in Stirling for us. Thank you tonight.
Time for a short break now, but coming up, we are expecting an update from police on that stabbing in Aberfan. We will bring you more details on that when we have it.
Yeah, stay with us for that and lots more for you today, including Claire with a quick look at the weather. Oh, sorry, seems like we're having some technical problems. There he is again.
Yes, I'm told we do have Claire. See you in a second.
The power of nature meets the power of science. Weather on Channel 5, sponsored by Sterimar Congestion Relief Nasal Spray.
The floodgates open to more rain over the next 24 to 36 hours. Before that, though, another severe frost tonight. But you'll see some rain arrive across Northern Ireland and West Wales later. And watch out for that wind.
Ready for anything with the Winter Activities Report, sponsored by Bronco Stop Cough Syrup.
Welcome back. The time has just gone 5:30 and here are the top 5 things you need to know today. Firstly, this man, the Home Secretary, James Cleverly, has signed a new treaty with Rwanda as the government pushes ahead with their plans to send asylum seekers there for processing. At 2, junior doctors have announced more strike action after talks between the union and the government broke down. There'll be a 3-day walkout in England from December the 20th and 6 days from January the 3rd. Meanwhile, it's another day of misery for passengers affected by rail strikes. Today, there are no C2C trains, while Greater Anglia is running a reduced service too. At 4, campaigners have handed in a petition to Downing Street. They're demanding full compensation to the victims and bereaved families of the infected blood scandal. And police in South Wales have arrested a man on suspicion of attempted murder after a pregnant woman was stabbed in the small village of Aberfan. It happened just after 9 o'clock this morning, and schools in the area were put on lockdown. Well, as we told you earlier, we're expecting an update from police at any minute. But for now, let's go back to Layla Hayes, who's at the scene there in Aberfan. Can you talk us through what the mood is like there today, Layla? This must have been a very difficult day for all of the community. OK, Layla, live in Aberfan for us. As we said, we will bring you that police press conference as soon as we get it. We are expecting it in just a few minutes. That is the live scene there in Merthyr Tydfil, which is not far from Aberfan, where that happened today.
So more on that later in the programme and lots more to come too. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's that time of the programme now where we're going to take you around the world in 3 stories. First, let's go off to Indonesia. Yesterday, of course, we told you about this volcanic eruption. It happened on Sunday at Mount Merapi, and sadly, rescuers have found 9 more bodies, bringing the number of people killed to 22. The rescue efforts obviously are very dangerous as eruptions are still happening. Next, let's head to the United States and a dramatic house explosion. Here it is. Police had been called to the house in Arlington, Virginia, after reports of gunshots before the whole building went up in flames. It's thought one person was inside, but we don't yet know what happened to them. Finally, let's go across to Dubai for a stunt that's been called a world first. This is Brian Grubb, and he's become the first person in the world to combine wake skating, so that's like a skateboard on water, and base jumping. Wait for it. That's jumping off a building and using a parachute to descend to the ground. He called the 300-metre fall a super fun flight. Well, I say, good for you, Brian.
Now, as far as Christmas traditions go, it's one of the newer ones, but it's taken households around the world by storm. I am, of course, talking about the elf on the shelf.
Yes, elves like Peppermint here, who's been following us around today, have a very important role. They watch over you by day, report to Santa by night, and then appear in a different location the next day.
Yes, the cheeky elves have been popping up all over the UK for the past 10 years or so. It all began with one family. Shanda Bell and Krista Pitts join us now, along with another of the elves here. So, Shanda, how did this all start in your family and then around the world?
Thank you so much for coming in to talk us through. We've had so much fun looking through all those photos. It's got us really in the Christmas spirit.
We appreciate it, you guys.
Such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, absolutely. Now, what's the link here? From Christmas traditions to mullets. I don't think there is a link, actually. It's quite a handbrake turn. Many of us have probably remember them as a symbol of the 80s. I do. I honestly didn't have one. But,
I was going to ask you that. Definitely not.
No, there's no evidence. But a favourite style that once rocked the distinctive business in the front, party in the back style. Lots of those, of course.
Yeah, well, actually, a British Army doctor has just taken out the title for the world's best mullet. Take a look at this. Dr. Alistair Bush from Dorset was crowned the highly sought-after title this weekend. He flew all the way to Australia, in fact, to take part in the World Mullet Championships. He says he started growing it during COVID. He's been perfecting it for the last 2 years, in fact, all while raising money for Testicular Cancer UK.
That was outstanding, wasn't it?
Very impressive right there. Now, I'm delighted to say we're joined now by 2 experts in this field, celebrity hairstylist Daniel Galvin and Matt Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I mean, why is the mullet so enduringly popular?
to really look fabulous.
Daniel and Matt, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Now, before we go, I'm going to bring you an update on a story we have been following closely tonight, that stabbing in South Wales. A 28-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after a pregnant woman was stabbed in Aberfan, and earlier police gave this press statement.
This afternoon, a 28-year-old local man was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. The man is known to the victim and is currently in police custody. I appreciate there will be a real sense of shock within the local community with the attack having happened in broad daylight. This was a targeted attack. The woman remains in hospital with injuries which are not believed to be life-threatening at this time. I want to thank the local community and partners for their patience and support throughout today's police operation to trace and arrest the suspect. Thank you.
OK, that was Chief Inspector Rob Miles there from Wales Police. That's it from us. There are going to be updates throughout the evening. First one's in an hour. For now, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
The power of nature meets the power of science. Weather on Channel 5, sponsored by Sterimar Congestion Relief Nasal Spray.